growing up on my granddaddy's farm in East Texas, a little town called Perfection. I was around death an awful lot, and from a young age I was taught to respect death, and the machines that could very well cause my own. We had well, I'm not sure what the proper term is. We just took to calling it the Muffin Monster. It was basically a thing for destroying stuff. Whenever we fed into it, we never saw again, except as mulch and dust. If you weren't careful, you could easily lose a hand to it. I learned that well, not exactly the hard way, but close to it. I must have been 7 or 8 when it happened. I wondered what it was. I had never seen it at this point. You know how kids get. I just reached in, but before I got gobbled up by it, my granddaddy thrust his own hand in there and got mine out. However, he was a little overzealous and went too deep. The blood, you can't even begin to imagine how much blood there was. I mean, they got to it pretty quickly. I must have only lost about a pint, you see, but being liquid, it's the consistency. It spreads out, gets everywhere, and the screams. I mean, having your hand taken off, you'd expect it, but there's just something about men screaming. It's unnatural. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that women screaming is just fine and dandy, but far from it, but men aren't easily brought to that level of pain or terror. Only one other time have I been affected in the same way by a man's screams. On the 3rd night of July in '09, I hear a noise like something rustling in the bushes outside my room, and I get a feeling like goosebumps, you know. And I know that something ain't right, and my stomach knots. I went to the window to check it out. I got my flashlight and made a quick scan of the shrubbery outside. When I catch a glimpse of something dark, moving quickly just for a second, and it was gone. Just a prairie dog, I suppose. They often come wandering around this time. Maybe it was. I suppose even now, regardless of what happened next, it's possible that the two things are completely unrelated. I hear a crash, like someone knocking over my trash can, and the sound of the screen door swinging, banging against the wall. That only happens when someone comes into the house. Understandably, at this point, I'm a little worried. I think to myself, regardless of who it is, that they're trespassing. So I move over to my wall rack, and I take down the shotgun, not figure I'm having to using it. Just in case, you know. I went over to the door, and suddenly I stop. I hear the floorboards creaking just outside. They get louder and closer. So I put the side of my head to the door. It's safe from my heart pounding. I hear nothing. And the breathing starts. It's low, shallow, like a man gasping his last breaths. I flung the door open, but when I look at it, I don't see anything. And the breathing stopped, but I know, I can feel that it ain't over, not yet. Just then, I happened to look out the window. I just glanced and chanced upon seeing a light on in the barn. The door was open, letting out a shaft of pale yellow glow that bathed the stretch between the house and the barn in visibility. And walking towards the entrance with my pappy, gun in hand. He must have been spooked too. At this point, I'm thinking, why would someone be in the barn? We use it mostly for storage. I decide to get down and follow my father out of the door, but as I go to catch up with him, I'm halted mid-step down the stairs by this howl from all directions, pressing down on me like great weights, almost collapsing. It hurts, and I feel the blood trickle down from my ears, warm and sticky. Then, as sudden as it started, it stops, and is replaced by what chilled me to my core. The screams coming from the barn. I rushed out the door and cocked my gun ready for what lay ahead, but I wasn't. As I entered, I saw only on my level a shadow, a great shadow engulfing the floor for me. When I looked up and saw what was casting it has stayed with me for all these years. My daddy was being held by this thing. It must have been at least 9 feet tall, standing on the walkway above me. Black as the night, and straight from a horror film. It was all jagged and hulking, writhed and contorted in its way. I don't know how else to describe it. It just felt pure evil. I was so shocked that I stumbled back onto the controls of one of the machines that were strewn about on the floor. And as the machine stuttered into life, the creature made a noise not unlike the screech from earlier, but there was something else in it too. It felt like pain, like the noise had hurt it. I knew I wouldn't get another chance, so I ran. I turned on all the machinery I could, and with each new mechanical cacophony, the creature got louder. Its movements became more erratic, uncontrolled. I dropped my father on the walkway and clutched at what I supposed was its head. I slung the shotgun over my shoulder and climbed up the ladder to the walkway above. I could beat this thing, I thought. The pain must have weakened it. I was wrong. It just got real pissed off. It saw me and immediately drew the connection between me and the unconscious man laying at its base. With one swift motion, it brought its terrible limb crashing down on my father, and the resounding crunch made me focus on the small, lifeless body. His neck broken, the bones splintering, poking through the flesh. It was horrible. As I stared, the realization dawning on me. I heard the creature. It made a noise that if it were human, I would have said it were laughter. No man would laugh at this. I lose it, and I charged the creature, pumping round after round into its twisted, blackened flesh, with each blast propelling it steadily backwards towards the edge of the walkway. When at last I had let loose, the final burst of fire was teetering on the edge, and below it the Muffin Monster roared with excitement, as though it knew it was about to receive a meal. I leapt at the creature, and we tumbled over the side towards the jaws of the mechanism. Had I not known about it and rolled aside, I would have been chomped up too. The creature was silent. Under the machine was an outpouring of black dust, the creature's remains. I don't know or care how many of you believe this story, but my father died, and I needed someone to know what happened to him. I've been seeing more of them. They know what I did. They're coming for me.